Israel has not provided an answer yet, whether refusal or acceptance of the offer. It seems like the offer itself is similar to the Witkoff plan that Israel agreed to a few weeks ago, and Hamas did not agree to at the time. I do think that the best path forward is a comprehensive deal, one that ensures all the hostages are released and the war ends with Hamas being disarmed. I was very disappointed that the outcome of the Cairo talks the past week did not include that stipulation, and instead we went back to the partial deal. However, giving this is an opportunity to save the lives of 10 hostages, to bring home other deceased hostages as well, we have to take it and then begin negotiating for a comprehensive deal in the next 60 days of the ceasefire.
Meanwhile, the Israeli government is pursuing its ambition to occupy Gaza City. Given this is where it's believed the remaining hostages are being held, what are your thoughts about the increased military action that's focused on that location?
Many families of hostages are feeling like we are living in August 24 again. If you recall, exactly a year ago, 6 hostages were murdered in Rafah, a place where Israel engaged militarily since May 24. And as a result of the military pressure, Hamas executed those poor souls. We are terrified as families that we will have the same scenario again this year in Gaza City, where it is believed that some of the hostages are being held. We have to prevent that, and the only way to prevent that is going to a deal. The military pressure is a tool to force Hamas to the table, and it should not be the end itself. And Hamas is negotiating. It agreed to the partial deal. It must be forced to agree to a comprehensive deal and to disarm for the benefit of both Israelis and Palestinians. But the way to do it is not necessarily to engage fully and to occupy the entirety of Gaza, but rather to ensure that there are still levers that we can use going forward until all the hostages are home.
And how much pressure is being put on the Israeli government from within Israel, Moshe, to push for the release of all the hostages?
I'm sure some of your viewers watched massive crowds of Israelis taken to the street on Sunday, following a strike that day, following activities throughout the day, and then the rally in Tel Aviv that evening that drew hundreds of thousands of people. This is the sort of pressure the Israeli public is putting on the Prime Minister and his government to agree to a deal, to be the party that says yes and not the party that says no. And we expect the same pressure to be applied on Hamas. We don't see that pressure from members of the international community. And as I said earlier, I was very disappointed to see that Egypt, Turkey, and Qatar did not force Hamas to agree to a comprehensive deal, to disband and to disarm. Those were the points that were outlined ahead of the Cairo talks this week, and that was not achieved. In Israel, we'll keep pressuring our government to do what is right, but I call the international community to be responsible to putting pressure on Hamas and their accomplices.
Moshe, have you heard anything more about your brother-in-law, Omri Miran, since that video in April that showed him looking so weak?
No, we don't know whether whether Omri was moved, whether he's held in a different place. We know he's alive. We believe he's alive. We saw him in late April, and nothing has changed since then, except the fact that his condition, which was already dire, only deteriorated most probably. We saw the hostage videos a couple of weeks ago from Bruslavsky and Eviatar David. Those were horrifying images that brought to light the conditions in which the hostages are being held, starved, deprived of sanitation, of water, of sunlight, while their captors Hamas members, Hamas terrorists, are giving every piece of food and other kind of support by their terrorist organization. We saw those videos, we are horrified, but we know that the only way to bring them home is to strike a deal. And the time is now, before it's too late for Omri, before it's too late for Aviatar and Rom, and so many other hostages who are still holding to life. And I also want to emphasize it's also important to bring those who were murdered in captivity, because in our ethos, in our tradition in Israel, we need to bring everyone to burial in the land of Israel. And it's imperative that it's going to be done as soon as possible.
We have to say that aid agencies on the ground in Gaza have said they haven't seen evidence of Hamas conducting food theft on the ground there. But Moshe, how are you and your family coping after all this time in keeping up your efforts to campaign for Omri's release?
We have to keep advocating. We must remain optimistic that we'll have a happy ending for our family. One that includes Omri returning home, hugging Lishai, my sister, embracing his daughters, my nieces Ronnie and Alma, finally having a laugh with his father and his siblings. We have to operate with the vision that this is going to happen no matter what. And that gives us the strength as a family to keep advocating with officials here in the US, worldwide, and of course with our own elected officials in Israel and with the wider public. But we also know that time is of the essence, and every day takes a bit of our soul, a piece of our soul as well, because we know how dire the situation in Gaza is for the hostages, how they're going through torture and deprivation of every human right that they're entitled to, not visited by any international organization. But we have to keep advocating. That's what I'm committed to do until every hostage is home, until all the 50 remaining in captivity are brought back to Israel.
Moshe Lavi, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you.